Roll up for a delicious trio of spooky authors for you this evening. From the world of middle grade, YA, and adult fiction. So we're going to have a little Q&A, spooky. Right, just add everybody in. I press the right button and then they magically appear on the screen. Hey, Colleen. Who've we got? Woo! Hi!
Hello.
Oh, you all look spooky. Oh, look at that red balloon behind you, Kit. And a broom behind Ali and a witch's hat. We're all here, the coven. How you
I
all
can't
doing?
guarantee this balloon is going to stay here for longer than 10 minutes, but...
Oh, let's just hope a clown doesn't appear. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for joining us for a little spooky Q&A. I've been so excited to talk to you all. So, yes, we're going to be chatting all about your spooky books, scary movies, Halloween traditions, and we're going to have a little movie quiz. I've made it quite easy, I think. We'll see. Oh dear. So should we start off? So all of you authors have had some spooky books out this year and they're perfect for Halloween. So would you like to introduce yourself and your book? Should we start with Scarlett?
Hello, I'm Scarlett. So I wrote How to Survive a Horror Movie, which is a fast-paced YA horror about two girls trying to survive senior year. And there's lots of spooky ghosts and jump scares and lots of squeamish gore. So yes, that's it.
Ooh, spooky, spooky. And Ali, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Allie, and I'm the author of It Came from the Trees, and this is a middle grade cryptid horror story. So for all of you who like found footage kind of creepy Bigfoot stories, it's for you. It's about a couple of scouts who go out into the woods, and one of them is in search of her best friend who was taken by a creature that's not supposed to exist.
Ooh, scary. And Kit, and I do apologise if I accidentally called Kit the wrong name, but I've known Kit a very long time. And yeah. Kit, would you like to tell us about your book?
Yes, this is my debut adult thriller. It's called Pretty Little Thing, and it's a creepy psychological thriller that tells the story of a young woman who returns home for her parents' double funeral and meets a complete stranger claiming to be her best friend.
Ooh, spooky. So I tried to pick like a middle grade, a YA and an adult. So I thought it would give us a really good mix for the questions, and they all sound spookily delicious. And if anyone's got any questions for our authors who's in the chat, just let us know and I'll try and read them out. Hi Melina, hi Dawn. Dawn said hello Ali.
Return home horror, yeah.
Yeah, Dawn said love a return home horror so much, sounds amazing, kids.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So if you could describe your book in 5 words, could you do that, Kit?
Baby Reindeer meets Shirley Jackson.
Whoa. Sold. How about you, Ali?
I will say cryptid, campfire, found footage horror.
Ooh, nice. And how about you, Scarlett?
I've also got a meet, so I've got Scream franchise meets Mean Girls.
Oh, nice. I like that. And what inspired you to write spooky stories? Like, are you a fan of horror and thrillers, Ali?
Yeah, I've loved spooky things since childhood. That's kind of like what my family and I did when those were our Friday and Saturday nights. We watched horror movies pretty much every weekend night that we could. It was like you would come inside from playing outside, and that was it. Like you took your shower, everybody got in their jammies, and you just watched scary movies. We loved Halloween. I read scary books growing up. Scaring each other was a thing in our house, so I've just like always been this way, and I couldn't help but write horror.
Yeah, my brother. I always bring up my brother on chats and stuff, and he used to scare me all the time. And my good old nan, bless her soul, she got me into horror. So yeah, I know that feeling of coming in from outside and just settling down with a horror movie. It's like a comfort thing.
It really is.
How about you, Kit? What inspired you to write like a horror thriller?
Funny that you talk about comfort, because I've always thought that I was a bit of a freak, because I find watching horror films, like, I don't know whether soothing is the right word, but it's like it's comforting. It's something that I enjoy doing. And I thought is there some sort of deep issue with my psyche that I haven't addressed yet? But I listened to this. I don't know if any of you know the podcast Reply All. It's a podcast about like weird stuff on the internet. It's not going anymore, but there was a spin-off of Reply All called the Scaredy Cats Horror Club, which I really recommend, where one of the guys in the podcast trio was terrified of horror movies, and he refused to watch any. But one of the other guys was like, "You're missing out on some of the best films ever made, and I want you to see them so we can sit in the pub and talk about them." So they made this podcast where they forced this poor guy to watch like The Shining and The Babadook and Hereditary.
Oh,
and
wow.
1 week.
Hereditary.
Terrified. And they said you've got to do it on your own, and you've got to do it in like, you can't like do it at lunchtime or with the lights on. You've got to properly embrace this. And as part of this, each week they would have a different guest on who talked about like someone who'd worked on a particular horror film or was a horror freak in some way. And 1 week they had on this girl, I forget exactly who she was, but she was talking about how if she wakes up in the middle of the night and she can't sleep, she puts on a horror film. And most people would find that completely the opposite of what a normal person would do. She was like, I find it soothing. And I was like, oh, there are other people like me. But yeah, so that's been my relationship. I find it a comfort as well, which is, I'm glad I'm in like the company of fellow travellers.
Definitely. I mean, those are quite extreme films to get that guy to watch. Like Hereditary is like,
Hereditary is, it's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm banned from watching horror films before bed now because my husband says I have really wild dreams, and like the once I pinned his arm down because I thought it was a snake, and also honestly, it's funny now. I was going to say it's funny in our bedroom, but not quite that fun.
Not quite that fun. That's a different chat altogether.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Scarlett? What got you into writing like a spooky book?
I've always loved horror as well, so my love for it comes from my brother. So whenever I used to come back from school, we would always sit and have a jam sandwich randomly. We would always watch a horror movie. And I remember watching Evil Dead at a really young age, and I was eating my sandwich, and I was so like grossed out. It was so squeamish, and I was like, "This is fabulous! I always want to feel like this. I always want to throw up my lunch." It's good. So yeah, I love squeamish gore. It sounds really sick, and again, I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, the gorier the better. So yeah, I love horror. But I'm the same as well recently. Like I can't watch it right before bed because I'm so tired and then I'm up for the whole night. So it's weirdly an afternoon thing for me, a horror movie.
Little Sunday afternoon comfort.
Yeah, little pre-dinner horror.
Yeah, funny enough you mentioned The Evil Dead because that's the first horror film I ever saw when I was about 6 or 7 because of my nan, and I always bring it up because it was such an extreme horror film to watch at such a young age.
Because of your nan?
Because of my nan,
it's so wonderfully gruesome and unnecessarily gruesome.
I can't bring myself to watch it now. It's one of those I do tend to avoid because I'm just scarred for life from it. Dawn said horror is definitely comforting. Yeah. Oh, and Melina said, yeah, horror is comforting. So yeah, we're all in the comfort zone there. Dawn was laughing. I was grossed out. This is fabulous, Scarlett.
Yeah, someone just said horror is my happy place. I'm like,
yeah, Eddie Rice.
I love that.
So happy I'm not alone. Horror is my happy place, except at bedtime. Oh dear. So all of your books have got really intriguing titles. I mean, and the cover art of all of them as well. So shout out to the cover artist. But how did you choose the title for your book? Did it change over time, or what significance does it hold to you, Ali?
Well, my title was really just meant to be a placeholder, and I actually was worried that it sounded a little campy. You know, it came from it sounds like you're in for a different kind of horror or maybe even a comedy. So I had actually talked to my editor about changing it before it published, but everybody who had like come across the title loved it. And so I feel like the artist, Chris Sheehan, did amazing work making the cover, like making the title not feel campy just based on the cover. So it stuck. It wasn't always meant to be the title, but I'm glad it's the title now.
Yeah, I think it does what it says on the tin as well. Like, it came from the trees. It's like really, and the cover art, as you say, just sets it off as well. It's brilliant. How about you, Kit?
Yeah, there's not much of an interesting story to Pretty Little Thing, but it changed over time.
Is it 'cause
so originally
you're a pretty little thing?
I didn't want to say it because I didn't want people to figure out what I really like. It was originally called Watching You Sleep, and then it was called Sleeping in the Dark, and then then I called it Pretty Little Stranger, and Pretty Little Stranger was what it was called when it was acquired by my publisher. And one of the first things they said was, "We love the book. We're going to change the title, or we're going to tweak the title to Pretty Little Thing." And there were various different reasons for that. But the most important one is that it's creepier. Pretty Little Stranger feels a bit more thriller. Pretty Little Thing feels more horror. And I think when someone else changes your title, you're initially a bit like, it's just a bit odd. It's an odd feeling to accept that. But the minute I did, I'm like, that's the title of the book now. That's just what it is. And it put me in mind of, I don't know if any of you've seen I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House on Netflix. That is a brilliant film. So I recommend watching that. But so that's how it came about.
I'm going to check that out. That might be my evening film. Yeah. Is it on Netflix, did you say?
It certainly has been. So yeah, I think it's still on there. I would recommend that.
Check that out. And how about you, Scarlett? Did your title change at all, or
No,
stay the same?
Yeah, it stayed the same. So I wrote the book during lockdown, when there was lots of time to do, but it always stayed the same. I always thought, like, whenever I spoke to my brother, we talked about like zombie rules and everything. So we always like how to survive a zombie film. And then the book just didn't have zombies in them, so we couldn't really use that title. But I went with how to survive a horror film just because of the movie, because it was. Yeah, so it was the same title that I'd come up with at the start, thankfully. And I did notice there were like a few other books that had similar titles, but that one was just stuck in my head because I'm always going through rules whenever I enter a room. And again, this says a lot about my personality, but I'm always checking like the exit doors, looking where I can source weapons from. So I'm always thinking like rules. How could I survive this room? How could I survive walking through the door? How could
I have never thought of any of those things. I feel like I would be screwed in an apocalypse situation. I might come and hang out with you if that happens. You sound like so well prepared.
Oh, no. This is where I'm going wrong in life, because I always say if I was in a horror movie, like, I would be the first one to be killed off, because like I just wouldn't be able to survive. Like, I like to think I'm bright in certain aspects of my life, but surviving, no, I would be dead in the first opening scene. That's it.
I'm a doomsday prepper. I've got water and everything. I'm good to go.
I like it. This is what I'm going to do from now on. Contrary Reader said, "Move over long legs is all I will say," which I think is about the film rec that Kit gave us, I think. And Dawn says, "I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House" is awesome. Oh, why have I never heard of this? Need to watch it.
It's really good if you like kind of a sustained feeling of dread. I like slow burn horror. I'm not that interested in gore, actually. A little bit of gore is fine, but I think like an ambient feeling of dread is what I'm going for in like when I'm writing, but also when I'm watching films, and that film really nails it.
Oh, okay. How about you, Ali? What type of horror do you like? Do you like gory things, or?
I do not like gory things. I actually walked out of a Saw movie once. I am more into the creeping dread. I really like found footage horror. I really like creature features. Possession is hard for me because I grew up, I went to Catholic school when I was growing up, and so like there's fire and like brimstone, speeches before. So I'll stick with the creature features and the found footage.
Oh, that sounds good. And you said, didn't you, Scarlett, you like gory films? Yeah,
Yeah, I
gorier
love
the
a good
better.
slasher flick. Yeah.
Oh,
Like, give me a
slashers.
dead body or severed limb. Yeah.
Have you seen the Terrifier films?
No,
I'm
I
too
haven't.
scared. I'm literally too scared to watch them. Are they?
Uh,
Have you seen them,
I've
Keith?
seen Terrifier 2.
Oh,
I have a friend. In fact, my book is dedicated to Ben. Ben is my oldest friend, and he grew up on my road. Like, I used to walk to his house when I was a kid. In fact, I moved to the village, and I've met this guy who was like 8 or 9, same age as me. But he had lots of like bootleg horror films, and he could play the electric guitar, and he was like the coolest guy I'd ever met. And he and I have a kind of little horror movie club to this day. We meet up and we watch horror films. And
oh.
we used to watch all the gory stuff when we were 13. That's what we were interested in. And I don't really watch that now, but when I hang out with Ben, we find something ridiculous like Terrifier 2. So we watch that. And it is, I mean, actually, I don't know. It didn't make me faint or anything. It's quite gross, but I think it's probably been a little overhyped. It's but really, I mean, enjoyable in a weird way.
Yeah. I think I always talk to my friend Kasha about the Terrify films because she just went to see the third one, and she said now her husband has refused to go to any more films with her since she took him to that one, and I'm like, oh. So yeah.
I don't know whether you're like other halves, if you have them feel about you sort of you referenced this, Shelley, at the beginning about like you have to do weird things in the bedroom because you want scary films. My wife will not flat out refuses to watch horror, but she's a doctor, and when she works a night shift, I like cram in all the horror films. But she did once allow us to go and see one because it had a fancy actor in it. It had Emily Blunt in it. She likes Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
So like, should we go and see The Quiet Place?
Oh like, no!
Like, you do understand this is a scary film. She's like, it's fine. It's got Emily Blunt in it. It's like, okay. And we went to go and see it, and she squeezed my hand so hard that like my knuckles are still reforming to this day. And that was it. No more scary films.
Yeah, my husband, he likes like slasher films. He likes horror films with a fun element, I would say. Like he refuses to watch the Saw films, like anything with gore he's really not into. But yeah, it has to capture his attention, but he's not a huge horror fan, so I kind of have to like eke it in a little bit.
You have to do some favours to him the other way around. I'll be watching up if you come and see Terrifier.
Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, I think Terrifier 3 might be a bit too far for him, but yeah. How about you, Scarlett? Does your family or husband or wife watch horror films?
I'm the only one obsessed with horror. Me and my brother are the only ones obsessed with
horror.
Nobody watches films with us. So yeah, it's quite lonely, but I'm glad I found a community on here. So that's good.
And how about you, Ali? Have you got a partner who likes horror films?
Yeah, my husband is very into horror. It's actually how we met, because we were having a debate about whether or not Silver Bullet or Lost Boys was the superior movie. And I was a Silver Bullet fan at the time, and he was a Lost Boys fan. Now I still really love Silver Bullet. It needs an update, but I will fully admit now that Lost Boys is the better movie.
Yeah,
oh, I like that. All those years later. Hi, Emma. Oh, she's been working at the bookshop. Emma works as a fantastic bookseller. She's brilliant. So you've all got really good horror scenes in your book. So what was the most challenging scene for you to write, and how did you overcome it? Ali?
I don't know if there was any particular scene that was challenging. I will say this was my first like horror book that I wrote, and so it becomes challenging to have to describe or like build dread or fear, especially if you have a lot of scary scenes in the book, because then you have to make sure that you're not being repetitive. So I will say that was probably like the most challenging thing about writing my book, and it's continued to be a challenging thing as I continue to write more horror books.
Yeah. How about you, Scarlett?
I think it was like the ghost part as well. So having my main character Charlie interact with ghosts, but then also remembering that no one else can hear the conversation. So I think it was when I had living characters and dead characters having a back and forth conversation, was remembering who could hear what and not to respond to the dead. And yeah, it got confusing after a while.
I
And
bet
then
that was a challenge.
yeah.
Were you going to say something else?
Oh
Sorry, I
no, I was just gonna
interrupted
say the
you.
end scene as well. That I had a yeah, the end scene was really tough to do, but I think that was
Mm.
more like an emotional thing where I was like, oh, do I want to take it in this direction? But and then I was like, I have to. It's going in this direction. But it was tough to write.
And how about you, Keith?
There wasn't any one particular theme necessarily, but there was one I remember redrafting a few times because it was quite sort of pivotal to one of the things I explore in the book is I don't know if any of you have heard of this hypnagogic hallucinations, which is basically so hypnagogia is kind of the state between waking and sleep. So as you're falling asleep and your body is kind of hovering between these two states of consciousness, and my lead character Beckett suffers from these kind of it's like sleep paralysis. So as she's falling asleep, she starts to kind of experience dreams, but you're awake enough that you can still see your bedroom, you can still feel your duvet around you, but you are also experiencing kind of early stage dreaming, so you get hallucinations that feels like a literal waking nightmare, which did happen to me once, and it's kind of like a really bad trip, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And, a disclaimer. And there's a scene in the book where she's back in her family home. Both her parents died within a week of each other, and she's in this kind of creaking old Georgian house, and she sort of falls asleep and then wakes up, and she's caught in this transitional phase, and she can't move, so she's sort of paralyzed, but she can see her room, and a sort of a weight presses down on the mattress at the bottom of the bed, and she sees this kind of faceless, hairless, kind of black shape that kind of twists its head and looks at her, and you get the sound of sort of someone stepping on dry firewood as its neck kind of turns, and just as you think its neck's going to snap, it just drops like a sheet.
Wow.
Nothing was there.
That sounds terrifying.
And I've always found this, like, you know, that point where you're in between waking and sleep, where you are still in the real world, but you're at the mercy of your brain's ability to hallucinate anything is like existentially terrifying. So I wanted to re-nail that scene.
Yeah. Oh, it's giving me the shivers, that has. So what was your favourite bit to write in the books? A lot of people say they like developing their characters and things like that. Ali?
Well, my book has a lot of interstitials throughout. So it's got like blog posts, it's got newspaper articles, there are park guides, all that stuff. And honestly, like I enjoyed, writing the whole book, but those were some of my favorite parts to write because I just felt like I was writing like fictional spooky news. And just writing about like things that I like, oh, if I had stumbled across a blog or a newspaper article about this particular topic, I just tried to write it in a way that I thought would scare me as a kid. So those were probably my favorite parts to write.
Oh, so cool. How about you, Scarlett?
I think like all the death scenes. So I had in mind what I wanted. So I knew I wanted a head in the fridge. I just had to figure out whose head it was going to be and how that was going to play out, and then unfold it. So yeah, I think it was just writing the scene around the death, and I had very specific things in my mind because I think quite cinematically. So I knew I wanted there to be a shower scene, and yeah, so those were really fun.
Yeah, I bet. And how about you, Kit? Did you have a favourite scene?
I think actually the probably the most enjoyable scenes to write were the ones where you're going for the kind of fear jugular. You're like, this moment is going to raise the hairs on the back of people's necks.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time on like specific lines and specific moments trying to get those moments right, because you get used to seeing them in movies and you have jump scares and you have what you can do with audio, and as a writer you don't have those same tools at your disposal. But if you get a moment like that right with the right combination of words, it's something very special. So yeah, I really wanted to keep going on the ambient dread, but I wanted to like just create this sense of like everything about this is wrong, and keep that going underneath, kind of as an undertone all the way through.
Yeah. Ooh, sounds spooky. I'll just catch up with some comments. So Eddie May said she can't do too much gore, but give me a high body count still and loads of jump scares and she's happy. Dawn said Ali and her hubby are literally the cutest horror couple. Oh, that's so sweet. Kirsty said, I'm hoping to watch Silver Bullet this weekend. I've never heard of it before this week. Love the Lost Boys though.
Can I toss in a disclaimer?
Yeah.
The Silver Bullet really needs an update, so I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah, but sometimes the old ones are the best, I think. Like just the nostalgia and the way that it's been filmed, and yeah, I like the old films. Emma said, I've never heard of Silver Bullet. Oh, we can check it out now, Emma. Ali's like,
I mean, definitely watch it, but just know that, you know, it's very much a product of its time.
yeah. Eddie May said the movie was actually pretty good compared to the book, and for me that's something I don't say often when it comes to Stephen King. Interesting. That's yeah, Emma said that's okay. We watch a lot of terrible old films, yeah. So I run like a movie club alongside the book club, and some of the films we've watched, yeah. We try and pick some of the like odd ones sometimes just to, you know, experience it.
Have you seen Troll 2?
Yeah, many years ago.
So good. I highly recommend that to anyone if you haven't heard of it. There is no Troll 1, but they called it that to give it some gravitas.
To give it some all I really remember about that film, because my brother was obsessed with it, was he used to go around the house going troll, 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 like this in his little whatever, I don't know, fork or whatever. He used to go around. Yeah, he was obsessed with it. That and Chucky, he was obsessed with. He used to hide under the bed and like get us with like, I want to say it was a knife, but it couldn't have been a knife. But he used to like hide under the bed and like get us like on our feet, me and my sister. Oh, it was horrible to us.
Shelley, your brother sounds like a fantastic person. I want to meet him.
Oh, he's brilliant. I love him. And I have all these stories. So when he brings a new girlfriend round to like meet me, I'll tell her all these stories. And he's like, stop.
When I was a kid, I've got 4 brothers, and in the bathroom in my family's house, there was like I think it was an airing cupboard. There was some kind of cupboard that you could get inside. And so if you managed to get in there just before one of your brothers went to go to the loo, you could just wait and then like burst out. We used to do while away the winter nights, you know, before the internet. There was not a lot else to do.
See, this is what my brother always says. He says the thing is we had to entertain ourselves when we was younger, you know. And I was like, so I don't know whether I should tell this story. But, oh, sorry,
if you've got siblings, I was just going to say, if you've got siblings and you're scaring each other, that builds an unbreakable bond, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, somehow he had a pellet gun at some point when we was younger, and when my parents were out, he used to lock me and my sister outside, because he used to have the room in the attic, and he used to lock us outside, make us run around the garden and shoot us from the window. And once he got me right on the bum, and I've still got a scar on my bum where he hit me with the pellet gun. Yeah, so I enjoy telling that story to his future wives.
Yeah, that's definitely coming out of the wedding.
Yeah, definitely, wedding speech. Dawn says she's waiting for an invite to movie club. Yeah, Dawn, come join us again. I think last time we did Black Christmas, and that was really cool. So you'd have to come back on and we'll chat some cheesy horror. So if your book was adapted into a film, who would be your dream cast? Kit?
I'm rubbish at questions like this because I don't know like the names of any actors or anything. But I do have one. Has anyone seen Marianne on Netflix? I mean, this is mainly like me doing Netflix recommendations. But Marianne is a French horror, and it is really good. I think it's actually the only thing I've ever watched that has affected my sleep. Like normally I can watch anything and I just sleep. It doesn't make a difference. But this one, I was like waking up thinking that the creepy old lady from Marianne was standing over. It's really horrifying. Anyway, the lead actor from that, his name is Victoire Dubois, I think, would be perfect for my lead character Beckett, except that she's French. So there's nothing wrong with the French, to be clear. But I don't know whether she'd be able to pull off English. But
I've not seen that.
Watch Marianne. It's well worth it.
Did you nod and say you'd seen that, Ali?
Yeah, Ali,
did you say? Yeah.
Oh
no.
I saw some of the first season. I didn't watch the whole thing, but there's a scene in the beginning of that season that was so terrifying to me that like I just had to like cover my eyes and scream. No, I won't spoil it for anybody, but it was good.
Oh wow. Wow, I'm going to have to check this out.
Also said it's really good.
Oh, yeah. She said Marianne is so good, scary. Ooh. Why have I not seen these things? I call myself a horror fan. How about you, Ali? Who would you cast in a film for your book?
I feel I don't have an answer to that question. It's so hard because there's my book has it's like 90% kids, and I don't feel like there are a ton of like young actors. They're just getting into it and getting on the scene, and so I don't feel like I have a good grasp of like outside of like the Stranger Things kids. And I don't think they would work for my particular book. So that's a tough one for me, and I wish I had a better answer, but I really don't, just because of the age range.
Yeah, no, that's fine. How about you, Scarlett? Have you had to think about who you would cast?
I wasn't sure until I saw the second Beetlejuice, and then I was like, yes, Jenna Ortega. That's Scarlett.
Oh, yeah.
Because that kind of like sarcastic like tone to it. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah. And then also as well, like I'm a big fan of like kind of underrated sort of tongue-in-cheek horror movies like The Final Girls. But Gertie, one with the curly kind of bushy hair, like I saw her as Olive. So yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. And as Ali said, like it's really hard, isn't it, to try. I was just trying to think over like some young actors who would fit that age range, and it's quite hard. That's a hard one. I think I gave you a hard question there, Ali.
It's okay. I mean, it's fun to think about. I definitely do it with other stuff. Like they're rebooting X-Files. That's not mine. They're rebooting X-Files. So I've spent a lot of time like recasting those characters in my head.
Yeah.
So I get it. I just wish I knew more young actors, but they're just coming onto the scene. So I want one of them to surprise me if my stuff does get turned into a movie.
Definitely.
Does anyone know who Dan Stevens is?
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Scarlett.
No, I was just going to say it's a Downton Abbey guy, isn't it?
Yeah, Downton Abbey and the Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I thought it might be him.
Yeah.
I think someone just suggested that he should play Kai in Pretty Little Thing.
Oh, yeah. Is it 90? I want to say said Dan Stevens should play Kai. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. Emma said, because she missed the start, she said, what is Ali's book? Sorry, I must have missed it. Also, sorry if I've spelled your name wrong. So It Came from the Trees. You'd really like it, Emma. Bigfoot. Yeah, Emma will check that out. I think you'll really like it, definitely. So I thought we'd play a little quiz. I don't know how the quiz is going to go, but what I thought we could do is have like buzzer words. So if you know the answer, so then there's not so much pressure, you can just buzz in if you know. So I thought, Ali, your buzzer word could be Bigfoot. Scarlett, horror movie, and then Chris, pretty thing, because that's the only thing I can think of. Kit. So what I'll do is I've got a little pen and I'll keep a score. Now I've tried to make them easy, but like now I've just had a quick look. I'm not so sure, but we'll see how we go. And join in the comments if you know the answers as well. So, okay, so we've only got 10 questions, so it's not going to be too bad. So, question 1. So, which author of scary books holds the record for the most book-to-movie adaptations in the horror genre?
Pretty Thing.
Horror movie.
It's got to be Stephen King.
Yeah, Stephen King. See, I told you I've made them quite easy. Right, question 2. Which horror movie has the most sequels?
Horror movie.
Yes, Scarlett.
Is it Scream?
Scarlett.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, I think
Another
that's another
guess?
one. Halloween.
No.
Thing.
Wait, what was
Yours?
Scarlett's first answer?
Scream and
Scream.
Oh,
Halloween.
So
Bigfoot. Can I buzz in?
go on then, Bigfoot.
Saw.
No. Oh, I mean, my answer might be wrong. Like,
Is it?
please don't shoot me.
Is
Go
it? Is
on,
it Elm
kids.
Street? Is it Elm Street?
No. Should I tell you what I have? It's Friday the 13th.
Dang it. I was just going to say.
But yeah, I should have done a disclaimer at the start of this quiz that this is just from the internet. I'm sorry if the answers are wrong. But a lot of people say Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream and and I just saw Puppet Master, Final Destination, Eddie Ray said, and Dawn said, of course, Friday the 13th. Yeah, there's probably about 1 million of those films. So question 3. Which 2 colours make up Freddy Krueger's striped sweater?
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot!
Red and green.
Yeah! Point for Ali. So question 4, and I should have practiced how to say this before I did it as a question. So 1922's Nesta Faro, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is an unofficial adaptation of which vampire book?
Bigfoot.
Thing.
Oh, I think that was Bigfoot.
Dracula.
Yeah. Question 5. Which horror movie isn't based on a book? Frankenstein, Bird Box, Interview with a Vampire, or A Quiet Place?
Pretty Thing.
Pretty Thing.
Quiet Place.
Yeah. Well done. Question 6. We all go a little mad sometimes is from which 60s horror flick?
Bigfoot.
Horror movie.
Scarlett.
Psycho.
Yeah.
I doubted myself at the last second.
I hesitated, then you were like, do I say it? Do I say it? Question 7. What 1984 horror movie features a group of scientists battling supernatural forces for money? Oh, you're going to kick yourselves.
Pretty
Go
Thing.
on then, kids.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah! Well done. Eddie May said her husband Bill Skarsgård. I can't say your husband's name, Eddie. Your future husband has done a remake of whatever that word is, coming out at Christmas. the Nossa. I don't know how to say it. Oh dear, I should practice these things. I'm terrible.
You know who's a good resource for how to say Nosferatu? SpongeBob. That's where I learned it.
Oh, yes, of course. Need to rewatch now, learn all the words. Yeah, Dawn says she's so excited for that film. I can't say it. Oh, so question 8. What year was the first Saw movie released?
Pretty Thing.
Go on, Kit.
2004.
Yeah. Yes! I was like, I wonder if anyone will get that. Emma says, love SpongeBob. Emma, 1995? For Saw? Just feel a long time ago, though. Question 9. What is the name of the killer in the Scream franchise?
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Ali!
Ghostface.
Yeah! See? And you'll be relieved this is the last question. So far, Kit is in the lead with 4. Ali's got 3. Scarlett's got 1.5. We'll give an extra half for Scarlett.
Thank you.
Yeah, Emma said 1995 was only a few years ago. Dawn, what's fist face?
I think that's a different chat as well.
Oh dear, Dawn, what are you up to? Right, last question then. Question 10. What is the highest grossing horror movie of all time? Go on, Kit.
I think this is wrong now that I said it. Paranormal Activity.
No.
Bigfoot.
Go on, Ali.
This is a wild guess, and I don't even know where it came from, I'm sure it's wrong. Jaws.
No. Good guess. Any more guesses? Oh, Emma says The Exorcist. Dawn says she's too naughty for this world. Eddie May says It too, and that's kind of right. I've got It down, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure whether it's the new remake of the film or the original TV movie. So, but you know, either way, maybe it's combined.
The reason that I thought Paranormal Activity was because I think it's the highest, the ratio between what it cost and what it cost is the highest of any film.
Yeah.
That was a good guess.
It was a good guess.
No cigar.
Yeah. No, it was good. Scott says It Chapter 2. Yeah. I have to admit, I liked the first Chapter 1 remake, but the Chapter 2 I wasn't too keen on.
Same.
I found it more comical than scary, and I wanted to be scared, especially for the second film. But there was just a scene in there when he's in someone's apartment or something, and I think is he dressed as a old person or something like that, and everyone in the cinema was just laughing, and it just ruined the mood. Yeah, Dawn said it. Chapter 2 wasn't great. Yeah.
Let's just say we like Chapter 2 for Bill Hader.
Oh yeah. Standard. Oh, well, thank you for taking part in my little dodgy quiz. Disclaimer, my answers might not be correct, but Kit is crowned our horror movie winner. Yay, Kit! But Scarlett and Ali, you did do really good efforts. I wasn't sure whether my questions were easy or hard. So thank you for amusing me. Oh dear. So we're coming up to Halloween. Do you have any Halloween traditions in your house, Scarlett?
Yeah, so I do a Halloween party every year. So I try and make all the food Halloween themed, which takes a very long time. It's a lot of research on making good food and a lot of cutting to make things look like ghosts or fingers or anything like that. So yeah, so I usually put on a little Halloween-y kind of thing with music and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I'm just waiting for my Lydia Dietz costume to get delivered, and then I'll be all set for Thursday.
Oh wow, I'm coming to your house. How about you, Ali? Do you have any Halloween traditions?
Well, I used to have a Halloween party most years, but I moved away from Boston where I was living for 10 years, and now I'm in Pennsylvania, which is pretty far away. All my friends are back in Boston. So my parents and one of my siblings are coming up today to celebrate Halloween, and we're going to do spooky themed foods and scary movies. And then Halloween night, we do, if I can give out candy, I do, but once the porch light goes off, we just kind of turn on old horror movies that we've seen before. Usually something like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, something that we can giggle and enjoy.
Yeah, I just rewatched that last week.
It's a goodie.
Yeah. I know it gets a bad rap, but I think it's really good. I love it. And then I had the song in my head the whole week, and now it's back in my head. How about you, Kit? Do you have any Halloween traditions?
Not exactly, no. But when Ali was talking about Halloween parties, it reminded me of my finest moment in fancy dress was when I dressed up as Edward Scissorhands for a Halloween party that we had. And I did backcombed my hair, and I made scissor hands, which is great. But then you realise you can't do anything. You can't go to the toilet or you hold a beer. It's such an impractical costume. But yeah, I'll try and dig out a photo of it and send it to you. Later.
Please do. That would be so fun.
I can imagine no one to hug you with your scissor hands. Dangerous hug.
Oh, what's your favourite costume that you've ever dressed up as, Scarlett?
I think I went full out. I think it was when I went to a party and I went a bit too over the top. There's always one person that overdresses, I think, at a Halloween party, and it was me that year. I went as a corpse bride, but everything was like head to toe done, and I was like staggering in through the door. And then I realized everyone was like just kind of classy, like looking, and like, so I was just that person that was like, oh, now I feel like I have to commit to the role. So that stands out. So now I kind of I go back a little bit.
I like that. How about you, Ali? Have you ever dressed up as something really cool?
Probably more in childhood. Two of the costumes I remember the most, I was the Crypt Keeper one year, and then I was Michael
Wow.
Myers another year. And I regretted both costumes because they required wearing a big, heavy latex mask, which is not fun when you're a little kid. So,
Oh.
but those are the two most memorable ones.
Oh wow, that's so cool. The Crypt Keepers. Oh yeah, that's a good costume. I always remember like when I was younger, those masks. So obviously I was born in the 80s, and I always remember the feeling of the masks on my face, and like especially like the mouth bit. I can't explain it. I was trying to talk to my friend about this the other day, and I was like, "Do you not remember how sweaty it used to be
I know exactly
under those
what you
masks?"
mean. That particular
Oh
smell,
yeah,
like that
like
kind of hard
yeah.
plastic.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
those masks are very much Halloween. And like, if anybody asks me, well, what does Halloween smell like to you?
yeah.
I say latex masks because that's it.
I'm so glad it's not just me. Oh dear, I was trying to describe this smell. Dawn has got a question. She said, what are each of your favourite horror movie or horror book? Ali?
Oh, Dawn, you can't ask me that. That's a really hard question. I will say I have too many favorites. So I'll just pick one for now because I watched it recently. But I like creature features. So Dog
Mm.
Soldiers is one of my favorite
Oh,
werewolf movies. Um,
yeah.
and then book wise, oh man, The Monstrumologist is one of my favorite books of all times, and
Ooh.
it's a monster story. It's about a doctor who studies monsters, and then the story is told from the point of view of his apprentice, who's a young 10-year-old kid. And so it's kind of it for those of you who like the gross, gory stuff. There's a lot of that in there, like a lot of dissecting of monsters.
Oh wow, I'm gonna check that out. Rolo Wilkins just said dog soldiers. She loves
That's my
dog
husband.
soldiers. Knew it. How is it? Hi, Ali's husband.
We've been talking about it.
Scott said about the mask. Yes, they were so uncomfortable. How about you, Kit? Have you got a favourite horror movie and horror book?
For books wise, I just don't think anything comes anywhere near The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. It's just so eerie and so unsettling. And it's the book I don't generally read books over and over, except for that one. I must have read it 10 times. My wife was like, how are you reading that book again? I just can't. I have to read it like to reset myself every sort of 6 months. And actually, not to again recommend stuff from Netflix. I don't work for Netflix. But,
Are you sure?
the adaptation, the sort of 5 years ago. So I forget the guy's name. The adaptation of the Haunting. Well, it's really more of an interpretation, a sort of homage to the Haunting of Hill House. Is absolutely
Mike
brilliant.
Flanagan.
Yeah. Mike Flanagan. That's it. Well done, Ali.
Really
my mind
sticks.
went blank then. Thanks, Ali. You remembered.
It's a real masterpiece. That. And my favorite horror film probably like Paranormal Activity, or I just love the slow burn of it. I love that. I love horror movies where like for the first couple of nights nothing really happens and it just really sets your teeth on edge. And the Babadook, I think, is there. Would be my sort of second choice.
Yeah, that is good, definitely. How about you, Scarlett? Have you got a favourite movie or book?
Yeah, I mean, book definitely The Haunting of Hill House. That nothing beats that. And then the show, oh my God, show was fantastic. And then I love Scream, obviously, because it's inspired my book a lot. But I also love 28 Days Later. Like I'm so excited for the new movie coming out next year. Like, I love 28 Days.
Yeah, That is a good one.
I think it's certainly my favourite zombie. Just the way the zombies move in that film, it is really chilling.
Yeah.
They did it so well, so well.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of slow burn horror films. Like you get like Midsummer, like oh my god, I was so stressy through it. I was like, I don't like it. It's too much for me. My palms sweat.
The scene on the edge of the mountain.
I can't do those.
I think I only watched that a couple of years ago because I was still. I'd watched another one before that, and it traumatized me that much. I was like, I can't do Midsummer as well. I think it might have been Hereditary. I think someone said watch Hereditary, so I did, and then I was like, I can't do Midsummer straight after. But I always remember, not long after I watched Midsummer, I think we was going to my mother-in-law's like a couple of days later, and I walked in, and she'd got like a toy kind of, stuffed lamb thing sitting there, and it had like the flower headdress on, and I was like, oh. I took this picture and put it up on my Instagram. I was like, should I be worried? But it's always been there. I've just never noticed it until I've seen that film. I was like, where's the bear? That's what I was looking for next. Oh, that film's creepy. I watched, talking about intense horror films, I watched Talk to Me for one of our horror movie chats. And that is like, it gave me a headache after I'd watched that because it was so intense. And I don't think it was good, but I don't think I could watch it again because it was just that intense.
It was a good one, and I agree. I enjoyed it while I watched it, but it's one that I never, ever want to watch again. And I feel the same way about Hereditary. I liked Hereditary a lot, but I don't think I want to watch it again.
No.
I think that about
it's just
like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You need to see it, but it's just an hour and a half of screaming.
Yeah.
And you can't. It just feels like it would be, torturing yourself to go back in again.
No, definitely. I think one of my favourite horror films I watch at least once or twice a year is Scream. And I've always watched that since it came out. Just a favourite. I love it so much. And I can't pick a favourite horror book. That's too hard. I agree, Ali. That's a hard question Dawn gave us. But I'll say Watership Down because the bunnies.
That's creepy. Watership Down.
Yeah, exactly. Horror.
Did anyone ever see that Lord of the Rings TV? They did like a TV version of the Lord of the Rings where they used like rotoscope, which is this really uncanny like method of sort of splicing like cartoons with live action. And it was I think they made it in like the 80s or something, and it's really unsettling. It also, they ran out of money, so you get to like the first big battle and it just ends. And you're like, hello? It's a very straight, if you want to creep yourself out in a way that you won't quite understand, what's that? I mean, I don't even know where you find it now, but that was pretty weird.
Sounds creepy. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to check that out. I did watch. I dreamt it. I did watch the other day. There was a new one on Netflix called What's Inside, or it's What's Inside. Has anyone seen that?
No, it's on my list. It's good.
I didn't know anything about it. I just thought, I'll put it on and see. And I would go in blind, not knowing anything. Like, just don't look at any trailers, don't look at anything, just go in. And I actually thought it was really good, very clever, how they filmed it, the camera work, what they did, and the storyline's great. So I do highly recommend that. It's not so much a horror, I'd say it's like a thriller horror, but they did it well, and recommend that one, definitely. Emma said Dog Soldiers is fab. Yeah. Dawn said, Ali, are you and Kelly going to do a couple's costume?
Not this year, Dawn.
Then Dawn says
my dream costume for the two of us would be for me to be Wednesday Addams, and then for my husband to be her boyfriend from the movie from the 90s.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool. Oh, you have to do that.
And Dawn has just dropped St Maud. I don't know if you've seen St Maud. That is really excellent.
St. Maud is good.
Yeah, the last like 5 seconds of that film haunted me for months.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to watch that. Dustin said Trick or Treat, the movie, is my favourite. It's such a brilliant anthology. Yeah, that's so cool. That's got the Sam character with the lollipop, right? I think.
Yep.
I think that's it. Melina said The Haunting of Hill House is one of my absolute favourites. And then Dawn says, Kit, me too. I love a super slow burn. You feel the dread building, the horror. And then, yeah, Dustin said The Babadook was that for me. Psychological. I couldn't watch it again anytime soon, though. Yeah, sometimes things are just so intense. It just really gets to you. Yeah, Dawn said Watership Down scarred a whole generation. Shelley, What's Inside rings a bell. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Dawn said Ali Wednesday and her boyfriend would be amazing. The glasses. It'd be so cool. So I've got one final question. So if anyone's got any questions in the comments, just pop them up, I'll read them out. But my final question is, what projects are you currently working on? Any hints you can offer us of upcoming works? Scarlett?
So I'm currently working on this sequel, which needs to be handed in like 5 days. I'm in the fog of the edits and everything like that. So yeah, so How to Survive a Horror sequel is going to be the next one. So it's the next part of the series, and as you can tell by the witch's hat, there's a little bit of witchy fun in it as well. So I'm enjoying researching witchy books just now.
And when's that looking to come out? Is it next year, did you say?
Yeah, September next year. So I'll have like a similar release date. So yeah, I've got 2 Halloween releases, which is exciting. So
brilliant.
Yeah. I really feel the pressure now to deliver in 5 days.
Oh, bless you. How about you, Ali? What's next for you?
Well, I've got a Wednesday book coming out next spring. It's called Book of Outcasts. And it's all about Nevermore Academy. And then I just finished revisions on my second book, which is called Mystery James Digs Her Own Grave. Lots of cemeteries and grave digging in that one, also for middle grade. And then I'm about to start revisions on another book called Down Came the Spiders, is coming out from Scholastic, also fall of 25.
Wow, such good titles as well. It's brilliant. Love it. I'm already sold. How about you, Kit?
My next book will be out, I think, probably October next year. It's another psychological thriller, and it's set in a luxury hotel in the wilderness of Finnish Lapland. It's kind of like, imagine like White Lotus in the snow, but creepy.
Wow. So good. I already can't wait for next year now. Oh, excited. One last question from Dawn, and then I'll let you all go, because I know you're super busy and you've got deadlines to meet. And Chris is at a party. Dawn says, please give me your deadline survival hacks. So, should we start with Scarlett?
Sugar, lots and lots of Skittles, lots of sugar to get through the day. If you're feeling tired, more sugar.
That sounds good. How about you, Kit?
Probably have an understanding better half. But my wife just tuned in a little while ago. Hello, Pip. You're amazing. She kind of keeps me sane during the more intense moments of deadlines. So.
Oh, that's lovely. How about you, Alan?
I second that, and I also say a cat helps, because my cat sits in my chair while I do revisions, and then when I get really, really stressed out, I take a break and I go sniff his fur because he smells like toasted almonds. And it keeps me calm.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Oh, we've just got a new kitten, and yeah. She's so cute, and she just
What's its
cuddles
name?
up. Cherry.
Oh,
Her name is,
lovely.
yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, but we lost we had an elderly cat, and unfortunately she passed away. Her name was Skittles, and Skitties we used to call her.
Sorry.
And thank
Great name
you.
for a cat.
Oh yeah, we were very lucky. We had her for like 17 years, but she passed away, unfortunately. And then just by chance we stumbled across someone that I knew who had an allergic reaction to the kitten that they'd just brought. So she was looking for someone to rehome the kitten. So I was like, Kev. Which is so sweet. Oh, I love her. She has cuddles every night, and she's got a lovely smell to her, you know, like you said, Ali. And yeah, just I love her. Yeah, I'll put some pictures up of her. She's so sweet. Honestly, love cats as well. Dawn says, I just drove 500 miles to collect a kitten for my mum. Oh, Dawn. That's so sweet. Oh, well, guys, thank you for chatting to me. The hour's gone like super fast.
Yeah.
But it's been wonderful, and thank you for taking part in my dodgy quiz.
Fun.
But if you're watching this back, or if you're in the comments now, do check out these fab authors' books, and you won't regret it. They are absolutely fantastic, and they'll keep you up at night with their spookiness. And thanks everyone in the comments, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.